Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining the session today. So this is a quick update. It's just 20 minutes session, just to give you an overview of, about the QA team, what we do in general, and update on what we've been up to during Queens and what we look forward to work in the next few months. So if you haven't seen it before, this is our logo with the bat. So the official mission statement is that the QA team develop, maintains, and initiate tools to ensure upstream stability and quality of OpenStack and its release readiness throughout or at any point during the release cycle, which means that we aim to ensure that at any point you can take master branch from all the OpenStack repositories and install OpenStack, and you should have a working cloud. The way we achieve this is working with the infra team. We have a gating system in place that we use to verify every single OpenStack patch before it's merged into the repository. So just briefly, a list of the projects in terms of repositories that we have. DevStack is a cloud deployment tool, which is both the development environment that you can use if you want to develop on OpenStack, and it's also the tool that we use to deploy clouds in CI. And DevStack tools is a Python part of it with a number of functionality. Tempest is the test integration suite that we use for running tests. Patrol is a specific set of testing with a framework around for policy enforcement. And Grenade is the framework that we use for upgrade testing to make sure that it's possible to upgrade between releases of OpenStack and between the last release and current master. We have a number of tools that we use, or that are used by all OpenStack projects for like syntax and code style checks, like hacking. That's for Python, Bash 8 for Bash, and config OpenStack, which is used for JavaScript projects. We also have a few other projects, like OpenStack Health Dashboard and StackWiz, which are related to test results. So they aim to give developers a good way of browsing through the test results that come out of the test. StackWiz is more for the single run, and OpenStack Health Dashboard is to give you an overview over time. So we collect data, historical data, and then you can see trends in terms of test runtime and test results. OS Test Star is a test runner, which is used by several OpenStack projects. And then we have a number of other repos, like cookie cutter repos and OS performance tools, some tools used for performance measurement, but we don't actively use them in OpenStack QA upstream. And a DevStack plugin and DevStack Vagrant, which allows you to set up a multi-node DevStack using Vagrant as a development environment. So things we do. QA in the community is quite different from what QA is in a traditional QA organization within a company, where you have a QA manager and you set up a test plan, and you have someone that tells all the team what they should be testing. So this is a completely distributed approach to QA. So every team is responsible for their own QA. As a QA team, what we do, we serve the OpenStack community by giving best practices on one side about testing, and by providing tools and frameworks to enable all the projects to do the testing they need to do. We also work on things like keep the gate running smoothly, also with the help of the infra team, and anyone from the communities actually can help on that, and there are people from different project teams that help on that. It's a critical piece of infrastructure for the entire OpenStack community, so it's important to keep it well working and oiled. We also support interoperability testing efforts. So I mentioned Tempest before, and Tempest tests are used by the interoperability team to test different OpenStack-based clouds, either private or public clouds. And the result of this testing is used to assign the Powered by OpenStack logos and other kind of interoperability programs. So in this picture, I also have a screenshot of the OpenStack help, just to give you an idea of what it looks like. It's if you go to status.openstack.org, you can access the dashboard and browse through the results of our CI. So what have we been up to in Queens? On Tempest side, there is a number of APIs that are now stable, which means that you can import Tempest or put Tempest in your requirements if you are writing a test, and use this API, and we will not change the signature of this API in any backward incompatible way. So if we have to change or make a change that is backward incompatible, it will go through a deprecation cycle of minimum 6 months. So you will get plenty of warning before that happens. So we added to the stable APIs, I think a few key functionalities like credential providers, which is a mechanism that allows you to get test credentials for your test. The thing is that you can use either dynamic credentials or pre-provisioned credentials, but the important point is that this allows you to have isolation between tests, because every test is running on independent credentials. Also, we finished the work of migrating service clients, so the Swift service client was not marked as stable yet, it is now. And the test-based class, which is already used by a number of, or most at least, Tempest plugins I know of. So it's now marked as a stable API, so you can use that safely. It won't change on you. We have been working also on cleaning up the scenario test code to make it easier to maintain and to promote more contributions into it. Sorry, just checking the time. So one thing that is happening in the Queen cycle is that we have a community goal for Tempest plugins to be hosted in dedicated repos, so not in tree. The reason we propose this goal is that because Tempest plugins, if they are hosted in a dedicated repo, they can be installed as a Python package. They can have dedicated requirements. They don't have to be installed along with the main projects they aim to test. And also they can be in a branchless repo, which is consistent with the way Tempest is. And this helps project enforcing API stability through releases, because we always use the same version of the test to test master or stable Pike or stable Okata and so forth. So we cannot make changes, backward compatible changes to the API in this way. There is a registry of plugins that you can check, but in the first link, you can see the progress of the goal. So what we have been doing is helping all the teams to achieve this goal. So I just wanted to mention quickly on test runners. STStar is not an OpenStack project. It's hosted on GitHub, but a few of us have been contributing to it, and it's being used as a main test runner for unit test and integration test by OpenStack projects. So we are actively maintaining that. And on the other side, OSTStar is still used, but it's being replaced in favor of STStar. OSTStar is a wrapper around teststar. And STStar is a native implementation of it. So a lot of teststar. So if you have any question on that, come and ask me later. I put Tempest there in the list as well because we provide a way to run integration test at least directly using the Tempest as a command. So you can do Tempest run, and that can be handy if you are working on integration test. So as you probably know, Infra migrated from Zool 2.5 to Zool 3, or free to be. And that had an impact on a number of things that we do. So a lot of, or all the jobs have been migrated automatically in the ZULV-free format, which is an Ansible-based format, but the migration format is not optimized to use ZULV-free functionality. So we are working on migrating existing jobs into the ZULV-free native format. So as a QA team, what we are doing is migrating like kind of the base DevStack job and creating the base Tempest job. We'll also create the base Grenade job, as not started yet. And the idea is that then everyone can rewrite their existing Tempest and Grenade jobs just by inheriting from these base jobs and adding a few flags. So it should be, hopefully this effort will make it more easy for everyone to migrate into ZULV-free native jobs. There were other consequences to the ZULV-free migration, like the way test results are then produced and the name of the test job changed. So we had some work to do to keep OpenStack Health working and the tools we use to process test results. And one of the things that we could not solve, unfortunately, is that because all the job names changed, we basically lost historical data. So it's still there, but the job name is different. So if you look at the test results for new jobs, it will not have historical data. It will build up in the next few months. In terms of patrol, the main activity that the patrol team is looking into is the implementation of the multi-policy testing, which is a way that we can implement in future single tests that verify multiple policy at once. And in terms of more community work that we have done, we started running QA office hours in addition to the QA meetings. It's a space that at the moment we use mostly for doing bug triage as a team together. But the idea is that everyone is welcome to just join in and ask questions. It doesn't have to be any agenda or preparation. You can come in and during office hours, there is guaranteed that some core members of the QA team will be there. So you can, if you want to start contributing or if you have a question or issue or a problem, you need help with anything, just join the office hours. Or of course, you can find us as well in IRC in the OpenStack QA channel. We also created the role of the bug triage czar, sorry, which is a person which is responsible for driving bug triage for all the QA projects. So we want to make sure that we stay on top of our bugs. We have several users of the testing tools, so if there are bugs reported, we want to make sure that we triage them promptly and we react accordingly. So looking forward, what we'll be focusing on, of course, we will continue supporting the Tempest plugins goal. So if you need any, oh, sorry for the typo there. So if you have any question on that, just come and find us. Also, we have a gold champion, so you can always ping him, Chanda Kumar, if you have any question on that. We will work on continuing the ZULV-free migration work, so hopefully sooner than later, there will be full ZULV-free native jobs available. It's quite close, actually, but there are a few things to be tuned before it's 100% there. And also, we still need to implement the Grenade one. One of the things that we put during the PTG as one of the priorities is monitoring the gate performance over time. So this is something that we want to start working on soon to keep a better check on what is the resource utilization at operating system level on test nodes in the gate, and what are the kind of resources that we we create during tests, like volumes and servers and so forth. Because some months ago, we were at the point where the gate became unstable because it was overloaded. So, and then we started hitting random race conditions, and also we were loading the nodes enough to trigger libvirt instability issues. So we want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. One of the priorities, of course, is to mentor new contributors. So if you're new to the community and you want to contribute, this is important to us. So please talk to us and let us know. There are projects like DevStack and Grenade, especially, that are actively seeking for new contributors and core developers and maintainers in the future. So one of the things that also we are looking into is to find synergies with other communities, because well, there are a lot of open source communities that are looking into testing, and we want to see if there is any opportunity for sharing test tools or best practices. And so, other things that we may look into, well, I guess depending on the outcome on that as well, you may have been hearing about Constellation. So if you heard about the TC vision, one of the points there was Constellation. So the idea is that to have combination of OpenStack services which are tightly integrated to solve specific use cases. And if we start implementing this kind of tighter integration, we will need to verify with proper integration testing that this integration works fine. So this might be something that we have to look into from QA team side as well. Cross-community testing is also something that we might be able to do in future with Zulvi 3. One of the features in Zulvi 3 is, as you may have heard during the keynotes, is that it will be possible to have cross-community testing, like the way we do today when we create a patch, and we can say this patch depends on another patch in OpenStack so that we test the two patches together. It will be possible in future to do that with patches coming from non-OpenStack repositories like on GitHub. There is a team that is also working and looking into HA testing. So it's still at the prototype phase at this point. I'm not sure whether it will happen on OpenStack as OpenStack alone, or maybe it will be part of Constellation testing, but it's something that we are actively looking into. So with that, I finished the presentation, and I managed to leave a couple of minutes for any questions that you may have. Okay, well, you can find me anytime. I will be around at the summit, or I'm Andrea on IRC if you want to contact me. Thanks for attending today.